Tonight on CTV News, trapped deep underground.
Obviously, it's very concerning for the families, for the workers in the sector, and all British Columbians and Canadians.
A delicate emergency rescue is underway in a mine in northern BC. 3 workers trapped after 2 collapses. How long it could take to get them out?
A lot of people are looking for justice and are looking for updates on this case.
A hearing into the mental fitness of the man charged with murdering 11 people. Will he be able to stand trial for the Lapu-Lapu tragedy?
If I come back with groceries, I can't lift them in.
Desperately seeking dredging, owners of tilting floating homes on the Fraser River are pleading for help.
This is CTV News with me, Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin with breaking news and a tense rescue effort underway in northwestern BC. 3 workers have been trapped in the Red Chris gold and copper mine for more than 24 hours. Rescuers cannot communicate with them, and it could be weeks before crews can get the trapped miners out. CTV's Yasmin Gandam has our top story.
Somewhere 500 meters underground in the Red Chris mine is a refuge area where 3 miners are trapped. 2 are from BC, 1 from Ontario.
Obviously, it's very concerning for the families, for the workers in the sector, and all British Columbians and Canadians.
The miners are safe, none of them injured, and according to a rescue officer, they have what they need to last for weeks.
There's water, there's food, and there's compressed air feeding that refuge station. So with that, it's all the basics you need to sustain life.
A good thing because it's unclear how long it will take to reach them and get them out. But Rideout says the workers are trained for emergencies like this.
A lot of things that have to be done in place to make sure that it is a safe and effective rescue.
The men have been trapped since Tuesday morning following what's called a fall of ground incident. This UBC mining engineer says it's an unusual event.
There's a possibility these blocks or prisms of rock could drop out of the roof of a tunnel. And it sounds like that's what's happened in this case.
The Red Chris is an open-pit gold and copper mine about 1,700 kilometers north of Vancouver. At first, the trapped workers were able to communicate, but then came a second collapse, and they haven't been heard from since.
Phone lines, if they have Wi-Fi, like it would take out those networks. So that's an inconvenience. It doesn't jeopardize the worker's safety.
The mining company Newmont says it is assessing all methods available to reopen contact with the miners and get them out. The province says it is also doing everything it can to support the company's efforts.
They have time, and there's a lot of experience within Newmont that is, I'm confident that they're going to execute this in a very safe and effective manner.
But he warns it may take days. It may take weeks.
And Yasmin joins us. We just heard the expert saying that it could take weeks to reach the miners. Why so long, Yasmin?
Well, Mijung, these are rocks, so it takes extra planning, and rescuers have to be very careful to keep both themselves and the trapped miners safe. The key is to do it safely and effectively, so that may take time. If you recall, in 2010 in Chile, 33 workers were trapped, and it wasn't until 69 days later when they were rescued through a drilled escape tunnel, but all of them did make it out. Mijung?
Thanks for this, Yasmin. The man accused of killing 11 people by driving an SUV through a crowd at a Filipino festival appeared in court in person for the first time today. A broad publication ban covers most of what happened in court today, but we can tell you the hearing was about the accused's mental fitness to stand trial. Here's CTV's Ben Milger.
After appearing by video for his previous appearances, Adam Kaijilo was in court Wednesday. It's the start of a hearing on his fitness to stand trial on 11 counts of second-degree murder.
The judge has to be satisfied, this issue having been raised by the Crown or by defense, that the accused is presently healthy enough to conduct a trial.
Lowe is accused of intentionally driving his SUV through a crowd on April 26th at the Lapu Lapu Day Festival, a celebration of Filipino culture. 11 people died and dozens more were injured. 6 remain in hospital in stable condition and some are now in rehabilitation centers. Under the Mental Health Act, Lowe was under the mandatory care of a Vancouver Coastal Health team, but was living freely in the community.
A lot of people are looking for justice and are looking for updates on this case, so it's important that Filipino BC is here to provide those updates to our community members.
A sweeping publication ban prevents CTV News from sharing most of the details of the fitness hearing. A consortium of news organizations are challenging the ban.
Report to people what happened, what are the issues, to understand what the judge is grappling with, what the court's grappling with, and hopefully to explain and add some transparency and some accountability.
The judge has yet to hear arguments on the ban. The Supreme Court of Canada is set to rule Friday on an unrelated case out of Ontario. That decision could alter the precedent for the test used to determine a person's fitness to stand trial, which could have a bearing on this case.
Witnesses may have to be called back to testify because new facts or new issues or new factors become relevant. And similarly, the complex written arguments that no doubt counsel have prepared may have to be rewritten.
The judge has instructed lawyers to clear a date for that possibility. In the meantime, it's not clear when there might be a ruling on Lowe's fitness to stand trial. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
Canada's premiers wrapped up 3 days of meetings pledging national unity in the face of escalating tariff threats. And despite the August 1st deadline fast approaching, there is no sign of a trade deal. CTV's Rob Buffum reports.
Talk of unity was punctuated by pipeline politics as Canada's premiers wrapped up their summer summit. Alberta's Danielle Smith not quitting her push for another through BC.
Acknowledge some frustration that we have so many projects that are either imminent shovel in the ground projects or with a small amount of support from the federal government would be ready to go. And a lot of the discussion is around this project that does not currently have a proponent.
This pipeline push, as a former ambassador who briefed the premiers, says a deal by Trump's August 1st deadline is highly unlikely.
It's complex and it may take longer, and I think it probably will.
While the Prime Minister and Premiers all say a good deal for Canada is paramount to a rushed one, sectors like aluminum, already subject to 50% tariffs, are feeling the heat. In Kitimat, the smelter employs more than a tenth of the town. Protracted tariffs would spell big trouble.
It has the potential to be, of course, extremely impactful.
And it's taking a toll on both sides of the border. Places like Point Roberts are being hammered by BC travel boycotts, encouraged by Premier Eby.
It hurts my heart because these are people that we welcome to our state. But I understand where he's coming from because he's trying to fight back and he has very few tools to do it.
Both sides lamenting the fractured friendship.
Is a recipe for mutually assured destruction.
As they brace for more economic pain and a trade war unlikely to be resolved by the deadline. Robert Buffum, CTV News, Victoria.
Team Quebec is preparing to light up the night sky over Vancouver tonight for the celebration of light. Thousands of people are expected to take in the show as security ramps up across the West End. That's where we find CTV's Craig Krause, who is live at English Bay tonight with more perfect weather for a celebration of lights. Craig.
The largest offshore fireworks competition.
It sure is. And good evening, Mi-Jung. As you can see, space is limited here on the beach as we are hours away from the fireworks taking place. But coming down here, Mi-Jung, that's where I noticed some safety precautions that are in place tonight. You have the entire neighborhood blocked off to traffic. You also have an army of security and a heavy police presence after some challenges on Saturday. I did speak to the VPD this afternoon about those challenges. Take a listen to what they had to say.
Those challenges with egress, getting large numbers of people out of the West End. There were some fights, there was some disorder, and there was a small number of people who acted in a way that made other people feel unsafe. So we're adjusting our plans. We'll reposition officers. We'll bring in some additional on-duty resources to make sure that we've got a higher police presence.
For the second year. Last year was the first 50.
This all comes as the VPD is grappling with several investigations stemming from violent incidents in downtown Core that same night. The first is a stabbing downtown on Saturday evening that left a 15-year-old dead. Then during the early morning hours on Sunday, police say they responded to a stabbing in the Kitsilano neighborhood that left a 22-year-old with life-threatening injuries. In Mijang, I'm being told by the VPD that there are over 400 officers who have been assigned to the fireworks tonight. On top of that, they have those barriers that have been used over the last several months that don't allow any vehicles from getting close to this crowd. Again, the fireworks don't begin until 10:15 tonight. Mijang.
And of course, everyone is hoping for a safe night. Thank you, Craig. A 21-year-old from Burnaby is facing steep fines after he was caught driving more than double the speed limit on the Sea to Sky Highway. BC Highway Patrol says this blue BMW was clocked going 194 kilometers per hour in an 80K zone near Lions Bay. It happened on July 17th, just before 11 p.m. Between the speeding ticket and fees for having his car towed and impounded for a week, officials say the driver faces a combined $1,800 in fines. A unanimous vote at Vancouver City Council today to ban the sale of gun-shaped lighters. Police say they have grown frustrated with the novelty items that are being mistaken for real firearms and triggering major emergency responses. Effective immediately, businesses found selling the lighters will face a $1,000 fine. Crooks are getting more devious, and tonight evidence they don't care who they target. The latest victim, a charity that cares for animals, that suddenly finds itself short on cash after being duped by a bogus donor. Ben Nesbitt has the details.
They're small, soft, fluffy, and of course, cute. Hundreds of these cats call this Richmond sanctuary home, and recently somebody tried to mess with its foundation.
It is very disheartening.
Catherine Ellesmere is the president of the Regional Animal Protection Society, better known as RAPS. She says in late June they received an email from someone posing as a lawyer, saying that someone had left them a gift of $95,000 in their will.
The check came from, it was kind of a legal-looking letter from a law office, and the check was from the Ministry of the Ontario government. So we put it in the bank.
Less than a week later, Ellesmere says they received a follow-up email saying there had been a mistake, that the donation was only supposed to be $25,000, and asked them to send $70,000 back.
Luckily, the same day, the bank contacted us and told us that the check was fraudulent, so no money was sent on our behalf.
While they avoided paying the fraudsters, RAPS had already worked the bonus gift into its budget and began much-needed renovations to the sanctuary, putting them out about $25,000.
It doesn't get much worse than that, is for taking, food out of the mouths of all of the animals here. It's such a shame.
The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre is now investigating the case, and Ellesmere is hoping speaking out could save others the grief this has caused them. For anyone wanting to donate, you can do so on the RAPS website or visit any of their locations.
We've been at this a lot of years, and we want it to continue for as long as the need is there.
Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Richmond.
People living in floating homes in Delta are pleading for help. The Fraser River is built up with silt and needs dredging so badly that their homes are tilting and lopsided. CTV Shannon Patterson has their story.
And I have to climb up like this.
At low tide, Joanne Granick has to hoist herself up onto the deck of her floating home at Canoe Pass Village in Delta.
Which means that if I come back with groceries, I can't lift them in. If I have garbage to pull out, I can't step down with it.
Many homes here are noticeably tilted at low tide.
Things fall out of cupboards, lamps fall over, pictures fall off walls.
A result of too much silt building up under the floating community, which sits in a secondary channel of the Fraser River.
The Port of Vancouver used to do the secondary dredging, and then all of a sudden they just said, we're not going to do it anymore. It was minuscule insofar as the amount it cost in their budget.
The federal and provincial governments haven't stepped up to dredge the secondary channels, so the silt is washing downriver into this village.
If something serious were to happen during an extreme low tide here, the ability of ambulances to even access the house and the injured person inside could be really challenged, not to mention just even to put a gurney down the walkways that could be compromised because they're tilted.
Delta's mayor and its Conservative MLA are calling on the province and the feds to fund a dredging program for this part of the Fraser.
We have lifeboats that need to get out, and on low tides, it compromises terribly the people that live in these beautiful, eclectic float homes.
Because the situation has gotten so dire, residents of Canoe Pass Village spent $80,000 to apply for a permit to dredge the water underneath the actual float homes. If they get permission to do it, it would cost an estimated $1 million, split between the 43 homeowners here.
We still don't have a permit, but if we did it this year, if we got it done in the fall, within a year and a half, we're going to be back into the same problem because they're not doing the river.
The new Liberal member of Parliament for this riding says she's looking for a solution.
I've spent many years in Ladner Village and in growing up in Delta, so I'm certainly very familiar with the need for the dredging of the secondary channels, the need for a long-term solution.
For Granick and other homeowners here, it can't come fast enough.
Lovely to feel supported. I need action. We need action here.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Delta.
A friendly paddleboard competition has raised more than $225,000 for youth mental health. Paddlers took to the chilly waters of Boundary Bay last week to raise money for the Surrey Hospital Foundation. For nearly 10 years, Champion of the Crescent has brought together teams of business leaders, health advocates, and community members. Funds raised this year will support therapeutic programming, as well as a transition program that helps youth shift from hospital to community-based care. Before the celebration of light tonight, another dazzling show. The Snowbirds take to the skies over Vancouver. Also ahead.
It's always really annoying watching older people vote, but there's not, realistically, it's not going to affect them. It's going to affect our futures.
Should BC lower the age of voting to 16? The UK has done it. Why experts vote yes. When CTV News continues. Stay with us. The move to lower the voting age to 16 in the UK has caught the eyes of some politicians here in BC. The pros and cons have been debated for years, and suddenly it is getting a vote of confidence once again. CTV's Martin McMahon reports.
For years, some student groups have pushed for Canada to drop the voting age to 16. But now that the UK indicates it will make the shift, it's given the idea of lowering here a new lift, including from 18-year-old West Vancouver podcasting twins Jason and Jerry Song.
What the UK has done is just really set a pace for democratic reform, right? So Canada pretty much has two options right now. It can either keep up or explain to the youth why they've been left out again.
And we never test adults for their political knowledge before letting them vote. What we do is give people the opportunity to learn by participating. Lowering the voting age actively builds political literacy.
Austria, Brazil, and Argentina have already made the move.
We have substantial research that suggests that when people are in, if you like, a supportive environment where they are encouraged to take their early adulthood political experiences seriously, that can create a habit of voting that can last for a lifetime.
But young people in Vancouver have mixed views.
I think that's good to get some younger people's perspective in the government.
Maybe youth, they should let them vote, but also there's people that, young people that they don't know what they're saying, and it can be bad for the world.
I think you should more learn about it before just voting right now and not knowing who to vote for, not knowing the reason to it.
We asked the Premier if it's something he might consider.
We are not currently looking at changing the voting age. We'll watch, obviously, what happens in the UK carefully.
We trust 16-year-olds to drive cars in British Columbia. They can do most kinds of unsupervised work, and they can pay income taxes at the age of 16. The legal age of consent is 16.
The issue may have politicians divided, but a parliamentary committee has been tasked with looking into it. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
People in Victoria received quite the show last night as the Canadian Forces Snowbirds took to the skies above the Inner Harbour. The performance was part of the team's non-aerobatic practice as they work on solidifying formations while on their national tour. Hundreds of people were seen near Victoria's Inner Harbour enjoying the Snowbird spectacle. The Snowbirds are back in Vancouver tonight for a show ahead of the Celebration of Light. Stephanie's here. Pretty cool that we got that vantage point of what the Snowbirds were looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's such an impressive show that they put on. And we've got some impressive weather for the fireworks tonight. So there's some good news for you. Take a look at where our temperatures are sitting right now. It is almost 30 degrees right now in Surrey. So we're really holding on to this heat. Spike today. We'll see another warm one tomorrow, although our temperatures will come down just a tad. As you can see today, 24. Close to 25 by the water, 23 tomorrow. That UV's at an 8, and we are going to be feeling still close to that 30-degree mark.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next vacation by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
So although it's gorgeous here, we do have some stormy conditions for other parts of the province. I've got those details coming up.
All right. Thanks a lot, Stephanie. Yeah. Well, could the Japan-U.S. auto trade deal spell bad news for Canada's car industry? Exports have already taken a hit. Also ahead.
This trial comes down to consent, whether the complainant consented to the sexual activity that did take place.
Tomorrow, we learn the fate of 5 former World Junior hockey players. Will they be found guilty or not guilty of sex assault? That's ahead. The new U.S.-Japan deal that will see auto tariffs cut to 15% from 27.5% is raising questions about Canada's negotiations and the overall health of the auto industry.
That deal has a lot of attention in the Senate and congressional leaders that we've been talking to. And I think that the prevailing view is that Canada should have a better deal.
Some auto experts describe the U.S.-Japan deal as a bad one that would not work for Canada. Trump's tariffs have already seen Canadian vehicle exports drop by 30% this year. The auto industry is urging Ottawa to negotiate a better deal rather than rush negotiations to make the August 1st deadline. A guilty or not guilty ruling is expected tomorrow in the high-profile sex assault trial involving 5 former World Junior players. It's a case that played out almost every single day in the media, with every piece of evidence scrutinized. So what's the expectation? CTV's Adrian Gabriel has a recap of the trial to help prepare you for tomorrow's decision.
From teammates to champions to defendants accused of sexual assault.
This has been one of the most high-profile cases that we've seen in quite some time.
June 18th, 2018, following a Hockey Canada gala, a group of World Junior teammates meet a 20-year-old here inside this London, Ontario bar. Following a night of drinking and dancing, the young woman arrived here at this downtown hotel with Michael McLeod, where they had consensual sex. What happens next has been closely scrutinized. The verdicts now hinge on the legal meaning of one word.
This trial comes down to consent, whether the complainant consented to the sexual activity that did take place.
The young woman, who we can only identify as EM, claims that after having sex with McLeod, multiple players entered and, quote, manipulated and intimidated her into remaining in this hotel room where she says she was sexually assaulted.
And just said, like, are you okay with this? And she said, yes.
The court has been shown a text message from McLeod inviting teammates to room 209 for a, quote, 3-way, something he didn't share with investigators when he spoke to London police in 2018.
She got on the bed and said, who wants to have sex with me?
It's not just the interviews and testimony in this trial that have been shocking. April 23rd, just 2 days into the trial, a member of the jury claims that over the lunch break here inside this market, they had an inappropriate conversation with one of the defense lawyers for Alex Fermenton. A mistrial is declared. The jury is scrapped. May 26th, a second jury is dismissed here at the courthouse after Alex Fermenton's defense team are accused by jurors of laughing and making them feel uncomfortable, something the lawyers in question deny, Still, the jury is sent home. The proceedings continue as a judge-alone trial.
It's exceptionally rare for that to happen twice in one trial. It's not something that I've seen before.
Former World Junior Team captain Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, and Alex Fermenton have each been charged with sexual assault. McLeod is also facing one charge of being party to the offense. With the verdicts now being delivered by a single judge instead of a jury, the public will receive a reason for the decision, which is also expected to be shared tomorrow. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, London, Ontario.
The sentencing hearing for two leaders of the Freedom Convoy protests that took over downtown Ottawa in 2022 began today. Tamara Leach and Chris Barber were found guilty earlier this year of mischief. The Crown is seeking 7 years for Leach and 8 for Barber. The pair were key figures behind the convoy, protesting vaccine mandates and other pandemic measures. One of the doctors charged in the death of actor Matthew Perry pleaded guilty today. Dr. Salvador Plasencia has pleaded guilty to 4 counts of distribution of ketamine in connection with the Friends actor's death. Perry was found dead in the hot tub of his LA home in 2023. Another doctor charged in the case, known as the Ketamine Queen, is accused of selling Perry the lethal dose that ended his life. She is the only one set to go to trial. 4 other accused have now pleaded guilty. A warning from a boater wrongfully detained by the U.S. Coast Guard. How a day out fishing turned into a traumatic ordeal.
There was so much stuff going on. I seen camera people being dragged into the crowd and all of a sudden disappear and the camera goes flying out, right?
He's covered some of BC's biggest stories now after 40 years on the front line. CTV videographer Jazz Sanghera is packing up his gear and retiring. The story next. With 71 wildfires burning in BC, a new campaign is urging people to prepare for more to spark. Summer Plans is the name of the campaign launched by Fire Smart BC. It encourages families to make wildfire preparedness a priority, noting that evacuations can happen fast, even in areas with no prior fires. So far this year, the province has seen 603 wildfires and over 700,000 hectares burned. One of the very first hires here at CTV News Vancouver is calling it a career. His fingerprints are on every show this station has produced over the years, thanks to his unwavering dedication to TV broadcasting. Mona Mahmood has his story.
Jazz Sanghera has had a front row seat to BC's most newsworthy moments for the last 4 decades. 28 of those years right here at CTV Vancouver.
He was like a veteran back then, and a lot of us had no idea what we were doing, so we needed to lean on people who did know what they were doing.
Welcome to Vancouver Television.
And that was Jazz.
Another VTV original is James Duthie, who says Jazz's team player mentality is evident both on and off the job.
Jazz and I covered an anniversary of Disneyland once in California, and I made him go to San Francisco the next day for the 49ers NFC Championship game.
The Packers and the 49ers square off in the NFC Championship game.
I just dragged them all over this ballpark in the rain just for me. We weren't even working. And we went into the dressing room after the game to do pretend interviews because I was still a super fan at that point. So Jazz is just walking around with a camera with no tape in it.
Jazz has covered stories that have shaped BC. From the devastation of the 2003 Okanagan Mountain Park fire to the 2006 sinking of the Queen of the North to the chaos of June 15th, 2011.
Now that's an idiot.
There was so much stuff going on. I seen camera people being dragged into the crowd and all of a sudden disappear and the camera goes flying out, right?
Rob Brown was reporting alongside Jazz during the Stanley Cup riot. The unforgettable live images captured through his lens.
Jazz was just the consummate professional, as you would expect. Just fearless in the face of some really volatile circumstances. And at one point, there was a bottle that came out of nowhere as we were covering the looting at the London Drugs. Jazz just turned to me at one point and said,
"Look out." And he just ducked out of the way and it came flying over and I said, "Oh, well, it's too late now."
He walked away bloodied, but was back on the job less than an hour later.
And this is a guy who was shoveling ash in the boiler of a sawmill deep in the woods on Vancouver Island, and he found his way to a big city TV station.
Jazz's TV career began in the early 80s, volunteering at Duncan Cable.
He was so dedicated that he would sleep in the studio so he wouldn't miss his volunteer shift. He wasn't getting paid. He was getting a Wendy's pounder meal, or for his payment.
That perseverance shaping Jazz into the journalist he is today.
If there was ever a story where you had to work with a reporter and try and figure out how a crime happened or who done it, Jazz, he was always 2 steps ahead of other people.
Hey, how you doing?
His latest post has been on our morning show with a focus on community, often taking risks to get the very best shot. But after 40 years, he's ready for new challenges, like lowering his handicap.
Yeah.
And gardening with his mom.
Since my dad passed, it's kind of hard, so it's better that I'm there, and I can always go a party somewhere sometime, but for now, I'd rather spend it with my mom.
But not without a proper goodbye from his CTV family, because let's face it, there is no TV news without the folks behind the camera.
There's this great picture when we worked in Prince George, and back in the day when we had even more equipment than you do now, that was probably 60 pounds worth of gear. And there he is, big smile on his face, just happy to be doing the job.
Congratulations, Jazz, and thank you for everything. Mona Mahmood, CTV News, Vancouver.
And I've had the privilege of working with Jazz for 28 years, so thank you, Jazz, for everything, and all the best from all of us here at CTV in your retirement. Well, we are hearing about Canadians detained by U.S. authorities on land. Now a Quebec man warns of what happened to him when he went fishing and the U.S. Coast Guard approached. And Mexico City looked more like a winter wonderland before a massive hailstorm turned into a slushy mess. That's ahead. A Quebec man is warning people about a terrible ordeal he went through at the hands of American authorities. He was fishing on Lake Champlain, something he's done many times before, when the U.S. Coast Guard approached. He says what happened next was a nightmare. We'll have that story right after Stephanie's forecast, but first, it's looking a lot like winter in Mexico City. A powerful hailstorm surprised people in the capital this week. It blanketed the streets with snow, delighting children and keeping cleanup crews busy. Mexico City's rainy season peaks in July and summer storms are common, but the sheer volume of hail was far from usual for this time of year. We'll check in with Stephanie. At least you don't have to worry about those kind of crazy scenarios here.
We do have a little bit of crazy weather, a little stormy conditions. The conditions are favorable for some hail and downpours in this northeastern section. I'm going to show you those watches and warnings that are in place. Good evening, everyone. We've got high pressure for the south coast. Beautiful night for the fireworks. Still nice and hot with our temperatures. A lot going on here. So in the orange area, northern BC piece, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning currently in place that could include gusty winds, heavy rain, as well as some hail. And then up in Fort Nelson, we do have a rainfall warning in place, and the entire area, including Williston, Muncho Lake Park as well, entire BC piece north and south under a severe thunderstorm watch. So heavy rain expected up to 70 millimeters for Fort Nelson, taking us into Friday morning. You can see the province really quite green and blue, which is a good thing for that eastern side of the province, but you can can see the southern tip here by Victoria. That is now in the red zone, which is the extreme area, where we don't want to be as we're heading into 7 days of dry conditions for the next week. So here we are, hotspot in Canada, 33.8 degrees for Lytton, record back to 1927, so a very hot one there. Here is the instability that we're looking at. So the areas in yellow and red, that's where we're going to be seeing heavy rain and downpours taking us through Friday. As for the south coast, a little bit of cloud cover tomorrow morning. Then we're into the clear skies. It's Friday. We're going to see an overcast day with a risk of a little bit of drizzle. So that's what's on deck as we head into the weekend. We've got another day tomorrow. We'll see mostly sunny skies by the afternoon. 19 degrees, 25 for Campbell River and Comox. As we head down the island to Fino, 16. Inland, 28. Victoria, 23 degrees. And for the Sunshine Coast, Whistler up the sea to sky, it's going to be hot. It's going to feel closer to that 30-degree mark with the humidex. So we have another day of hot temperatures. Then we're going to decline and see those temperatures rebound back to seasonal, which is right at 22 degrees. Friday, a little bit iffy right now, but then we're heating up as we head into next week. CTV Weather is brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. Lots of sunshine, dry conditions, so a little bit of cloud. We'll take that.
Yeah, I forgot my hat today. I was walking around downtown. I could really feel it. When you don't have a hat, the sun's just...
You always wear your hat. You're good.
I try to. All right, lots of hats and sunscreen needed in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie. A Quebec man is warning his fellow Canadians to stay away from the border, including by boat. This after he says he was wrongfully detained by the U.S. Coast Guard while fishing on the Quebec side of Lake Champlain. CTV's Matt Grillo has the details.
I'm never going to be the same. You see, it comes and goes. I can't stop it.
Edouard Lallemand is still very emotional when he talks about what happened on Sunday evening. Lallemand was out fishing near Venise en Quebec. The water connects to Lake Champlain in the U.S. But Lallemand says he knows for certain he was on the Canadian side.
I'm seeing them. They're coming towards me, and I know in my heart I'm in Canada.
The boat that was approaching, he says, was the U.S. Coast Guard. They told him he was in U.S. territory.
No, I'm very sorry. I'm in Canada. And I said, you know, I'm polite enough to talk to you guys, but you cannot arrest me. You can't come across the border and pick me up. They did.
Lallemand says he started his engine and tried to make his way further into Canada, but he says the Coast Guard followed and tried pushing him into the U.S. Eventually, his boat capsized. Lallemand was in the water and says he was drowning.
You know what they're doing? They're tying to my boat to their boat. They're not even taking care of me.
He says he was handcuffed on the U.S. Coast Guard boat and eventually turned over to Border Patrol. He was detained and placed in a holding cell. In a statement to CTV News, the U.S. Coast Guard says the operator was informed that he was in U.S. Customs waters. While the Coast Guard's 29-foot response boat was alongside the vessel, the operator put the vessel in motion and ignored commands to maintain course and speed for boarding purposes. The vessel then made an abrupt turn and struck the port bow of the Coast Guard. The actions of the operator of the Canadian vessel are currently under investigation. After hours in a cell, Lallemand was released.
He was flabbergasted. I mean, I've never seen him like that. We've been together for a very long time. He's like a beaten man.
He says he was injured, but he just wants an apology from the U.S. Coast Guard, and he's speaking out as a warning to other Canadians.
I want the people to know and to beware. Stay away from the border, even if it's 500, 600 feet away from there.
Matt Grillo, CTV News, Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu.
Just ahead, some local Little Leaguers are hitting it out of the park. They're off to the World Series to represent Canada. Plus, crossword connection. Adam finds out why a couple has been solving crosswords together for more than 12,000 mornings. Coming up on the Sawatsky Sign Off. Right now, here's a preview of CTV Morning Live.
The truth is out there. Does Canada need to be more transparent about it? Thursday on CTV Morning Live, how we could benefit from better reporting and studying UFO sightings. Also, it's like friends with work benefits. We'll speak with employment experts about what really motivates employees and how workplace culture plays a role. We'll see you in the morning.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live. Weekdays 6 to 9.
As fans and fellow musicians across the globe mourn the passing of Ozzy Osbourne, many in his hometown of Birmingham turned out today to pay their respects.
Ozzy means metal, Ozzy means aura, Ozzy means never give up, because at that concert he was suffering, but he gave us the best set list and he gave us the performance of a lifetime.
They're progenitors of the music I listen to. Without them, I wouldn't have nothing. So it's like losing a family member in a way.
Fans laid flowers, cards, and signs at Black Sabbath Bridge, named after the late Rockers band. Ozzy Osbourne's death was announced yesterday. He was 76. One of Canada's top tennis players, BC's Vasek Pospisil, is reflecting on his 18-year career after announcing his retirement this week.
You put your body and mind through a lot, and you're traveling, 11 months of the year away from friends and family, and doing that for 18 years professionally. Eventually, you get tired, and there's only so much you can ask of yourself. So it's just the right time overall to step away, I think.
The 35-year-old Vernon native plans to retire after the upcoming National Bank Open in Toronto. He reached career-high rankings of number 4 in doubles and number 25 in singles. Other achievements include a Wimbledon men's doubles title and helping Canada capture its first Davis Cup. I remember seeing him play when he was just starting out. I think it was around 18 or 19. So what a thrill. And now he's 35.
He's got his whole life ahead of him.
But he's had a great career.
Sure has.
Okay, well, the Toronto Blue Jays may have lost to the Yankees last night, but the organization was a big winner at the concession stand. It set a single-game record for hot dog sales at the ballpark. Fans bought more than 84,000 loony dogs. That surpasses the previous record of more than 76,000 set in 2023. Loony Dog Nights are held at Rogers Centre on Tuesdays and have been a huge hit. Setting the record last night was no doubt helped by the fact there was a big crowd on hand for a crucial series against New York. Some local Little League players will be heading to California to represent Canada at the World Series. The District 3 Intermediate All-Star team took the title at the Canadian Championship game today in Kingston, Ontario. The team is made up of players aged 12 to 13 from Langley, Coquitlam, and Surrey. Wow, great honor. Let's go BC.
Go BC.
Okay, do you like crossword puzzles?
You know what? No, I prefer a game like Scrabble.
Okay, check out this couple.
All right.
They're really cute. Adam meets a couple at English Bay who have found the secret to a lasting relationship with ink, white squares, and a shared morning ritual. On tonight's Sawatsky sign-off.
The phrase is quid pro quo.
I know, but it doesn't work with black tie.
Before they started doing crosswords together, Wendelin and Ronald were puzzled by each other when they first met in grad school.
And unbeknownst to me, she was watching with one of her friends, and they were having a good giggle over this guy.
Well, Wendelin found it humorous the way he organized his desk, and Ronald found it peculiar that she would pay attention. They ended up becoming friends.
Became part of a study group, and it continued.
Continued through their first date, having picnic in a park, to their wedding, exchanging vows at New Year's.
It's important to not just fall in love. You have to like that person.
And while they both like each other, when it comes to doing the crossword, they are not alike.
He doesn't like that I put down an answer. He thinks sometimes too hastily.
But like you need to look at clues from different angles, you need to appreciate your partner's unique perspectives.
She brings her life experiences into it. I bring my own.
And when they bring their whole family together every Christmas to connect over one big crossword, they follow one rule.
You never Google the answer. You know, you have to be able to do it on your own.
Yet Wendlyn and Ronald have been doing crosswords as a team every morning for more than 30 years.
A nice way to spend breakfast.
And after spending more than 12,000 mornings like this, you learn that if you start your day practicing patience and persistence together, you're more likely to end your day feeling connected and cared for.
And you realize how you work together to do things.
And you realize the secret to having a good marriage is not so cryptic. It's simply a 3-letter word: fun.
He's the expert at doing the crosswords, but often I will be right. And thank heavens for whiteout, which makes it so much easier to do a crossword.
Adam Swatsky, CTV News, Vancouver.
Aw, how sweet that they have this ritual that they can do every day. Not many couples can say that.
Keeping it fun with the crosswords, and 2 brains are always better than 1. Those hints are not easy. Here's a gorgeous photo. This is of a lake near Williams Lake, actually. A beautiful capture of the cloud there. It's like glass. If you'd like to send us your photos, email scenicSnapshot@ctv.ca.
Yeah, I've never heard of this Falkirk Lake. I guess there's all sorts of lakes up in the interior that we don't know about.
Exactly.
All right, thanks for joining us. Craig Krause will be here with CTV News at 11:30. Good night.
Good night.